Peace. Welcome. Welcome to the YouTube live book reading of The African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality by Dr. Cheikh Anta. And I'm your moderator and narrator, Uriel. Welcome, YouTube. All right. Wow. Divine rising. What a wonderful rest. Was working all yesterday, getting it done, and it turned out to be a magnificent day. We got to see some great World Cup as well. Viva Mexico! They did it. A great win. And now we are moving in the middle of the 9th chapter in this book. And we will pick up on page 191. Peace, YouTube. All right. So, this is actually the 40th reading of this book, installation. All right. And happy July. Yes, we made it. Peace, everyone. It's in the midst of the summer, and we're going to bring you some nice understanding reading to start off the month, right? Thank you for the likes and subs. We're pushing towards 700 on this peaceful part of YouTube where we read books and learn from masters. And I'm Master Fitness Trainer, Uriel. All right, we pick up on this 40th reading of this book in the 9th chapter on page 191. We're at the top. Thus, it is evident that these Egyptian metaphysical notions met with different fates, depending on the peoples who transmitted them. While in Wolof, the Egyptian meaning is preserved. In Pure, some of them, notably Ka and Ba, have become totemic and, as if were, ethnic names. We would have to assume that the Pure are one of the numerous tribes which produced pharaohs in the course of history. This is also true of such Ser tribes as the Sar, the Sen, and others. Until the 6th dynasty, period of the proletarian revolution, only the pharaoh had a right to the Osirian death and consequently fully enjoyed his Ka and his Ba. Several pharaohs before or bore that name, among others, King Ka of the proto-dynastic epic. His tomb was discovered at Abydos by Amelino. This would be in line with a Pule branch called Kara. The other Pule names, such as Diallo, are proper names acquired later in other Milus. As for the Pule language, it is naturally related to all other Senegalese languages, in particular, and to Black African languages in general. The relationship among Pule, Wolof, and Ser emphasizes their basic unity. Originally, the Pule were blacks who were later mixed with a foreign white element from the exterior. The birth of the Pule branch would have have to be dated in the period between the 18th dynasty and Lower Egypt, a period of considerable crossbreeding with the foreigner. All right. Next section. Here we go. Origin of the Tukola. Oh, peace, highest heart, love. Welcome. Thank you for the likes and subs. I'm Master Fitness Trainer Uriel Riley. Welcome to this peaceful part of YouTube where we read books and learn from masters. And we are now in the 9th chapter of this reading. For those reading along, and in the playlist, when it's finished uploading, I will put a brief vocabulary of the reading so you can look up the words and resonate with them on a different level. Thank you so much for being here and reading books with us. Much honor. All right. Down at the bottom of page 191. Origin of the Tukola. Divine Rising. Like the other populations that constitute the Negro people, the Tukola came from the Nile Basin, the region called the Anglo-Egyptian Sudan. This is proved by the fact that today in that region, among the Nur, we find the typical totemic names of the Tukola who live on the banks of the Senegal River, thousands of kilometers away. All right, here we go. Some more linguistics for us to be able to compare. Anglo-Egyptian, Sudan. Can in Senegal and Futa Toro. Can with two N's. Anglo-Egyptian Sudan. Wan. Senegal, Futa Toro. Wan with two N's. Anglo-Egyptian Sudan. Sai. C.I. And in Senegal, Futa Toro. Sai. S.Y. Anglo-Egyptian Sudan. Lith. And Senegal, Futa Toro. Lie. L.Y. In Anglo-Egyptian Sudan, cow. Cow. Or cow. Yeah, cow. In Senegal, Futa Toro. Ka. Pure. In the same region in Nubia Mountains, hills of Nubia, we find the Nyoro and the Toro tribes. In Uganda, Rwanda, we also find the Kara tribe. At the present time, in Abyssinia, there is a tribe called Tekruri, which leads us to think in the event that the Senegalese Tukola are a fraction of that tribe, that the region of the Tekra, instead of giving its name to the Tukola, acquired it from them when they settled there. In addition, there is a Nyoro tribe in the French Sudan, where the Tukola also sojourned before reaching the area to be called the Tekra, north of the Senegal. From there, they slowly went down toward that river, whose banks were immediately named Futa Toro. A skeptical reader might nonetheless deem these parallels insufficient, so we add still another. We know for a fact that during the second half of the 19th century, the Tukola, already Islamicized, had left the banks of the Senegal River to penetrate the interior settle in Sign Salam, and convert the Sur of that region. The great Tukola Marabout, religious teacher, who tried to accomplish this, a contemporary of Lat Dior, was named Maba Diakau. The area won over to Islam by the Tukola was baptized by Nyoro, by the ancestors of Maba. Nyoro do Rip, according to their own traditions. The Tukola, now living on the banks of the Senegal, had probably once resided in the area called Nyoro of the Sudan. All right, next section. Peace. Thank you so much for being here and reading with us. Divine Rising. All right. Down at the bottom of page 192. Here we go. The origin of Sir. The origin of Sir. Serer. It'll be in the vocabulary in the description when it's finished uploading. Okay. All right. The Sir probably came to Senegal from the Nile basin. Their route was said to be marked by the upright stones found at the same latitude, from almost as far away as Ethiopia to Sin Salam. This hypothesis can be supported by a series of facts taken from the analysis of the article by Dr. Joseph Mays on the upright stones in the French Sudan village known as Tundi Daro. Tundi Daro. Dr. Mays attributed the origin of these stones to Carthaginians or Egyptians, whom he supposes to be white. He explains the name of the village as follows. Tundi, he reports, derives from Songhay, word meaning stone. Daro probably comes from the Arab dar, meaning house. The final O is dropped so that the what remains may be identical with the Arab word. Thus, Tundi Daro would mean house of stone. That analysis could be acceptable if only those stones represented a house, or if one could somehow find that they look like a house. But Dr. Mays knows that this is impossible, and his text reports a group of facts ruling out any idea of human habitation. They are monoliths cut in the shape of a phallus, usually with the head, glands well delineated. The grooves follow the lines of the glands, and the pouch is depicted by rounded bulges, whose longitudinal folds resemble those of the scrotum. Other smaller stones are not phallus shaped, deprived of rounded protuberances, with the triangle outlined in the form of a pubis. By the union of the lower two-thirds with the upper third, they seem instead an attempt to represent the female organ. We're in the middle of page 193 of this ninth chapter. Oh, the African origin of civilization, myth, or reality by Dr. Cheikh Anta, translated and edited by Mercer Cook. And this is the 40th reading. Happy July. Peace, everyone. Doing well. Sock Dolliger. Divine days and nights. How does he then interpret them? It can be accepted as plausible that These monoliths mark the site of a cemetery, each stone marking the grave of a male or female corpse. This idea would be interesting and arguable if one could find even a resemblance of bones under those stones. But Dr. Mays adds, the fact that we have found only a few bone fragments has very little weight against this hypothesis. It is possible that the bodies were cremated and only the ashes and a few bones spared by the flame were burned. That line of reasoning is unacceptable from start to finish. These cannot be considered graves because there are no skeletons. The few bones that Dr. Mays was ready to identify prove that. If there had originally been skeletons there, they would not yet have been destroyed. What do the stones really represent? They correspond to an agrarian cult. The they symbolize the ritual union of sky and earth by depicting the two sexual organs to give birth to vegetation, female vegetation that nourishes mankind. In other words, to make the seed grow. As a matter of fact, according to archaic beliefs, the rain corresponds to the fecundation of the earth, mother goddess, and the sky, father god, heavenly deity who becomes atmospheric with the discovery of agriculture, a concept borrowed from the Mercia, Elade. Vegetation growing after the union was considered a divine product. Whence the idea of a cosmic trinity that evolved through a process of successive incarnations until the trinity of the Father, the Son, and the Virgin Mother, later replaced by the Holy Spirit, passing through the triad Osiris, Isis, and Horus. Since like begets like, they cut the two sexual organs into the stone to invite the deities to unite so that the life giving vegetation might grow. In short, it was his eagerness to assure his material existence that incited man to this practice. The vital instinct, archaic materialism, could accept only this transposed, disguised form of metaphysics that would evolve uninterruptedly toward idealism. There, then, in our opinion, is the sense of those representations. Incidentally, such phallic stones are not tied to a solar cult, except in so far as the sun is related to the rain. It is inaccurate to make it into sun worship, allegedly pastoral, and thereby Hamitic, including the nonsense usually associated with that word. Such sun worship, supposedly due to shepherds and warriors, stems from the imagination, not from a verifiable fact. See, and this is what I was saying about a few weeks ago. We don't worship the sun or our ancestors, we honor them. It's a certain reverence and awareness level that continues to heighten as you go further back in your lineage, as well as the more you dive into the stars and planets, constellations, rotations, oscillations. You know, you start to look up at the sky, you say, oh, that's Sirius, right? And then you say, oh, look, that constellation is Ophiuchus. And then well, what's that one? Well, what's that? You know, continues the expansion. We don't leave it to just trying to box it in and say they're worshiping the skies because they're giving reverence or honor or awareness to it. And that's the same way we do with our full moons and quarter moons and, you know, waxing and waning gibbous. It's just about being able to recognize, oh, because you're not going to see a new moon. Why are you not going to see a new moon? That's right, because it aligns with the sun. And you can't see the moon in the sunlight. It's going to block it out. So, yeah, it's about honor, not worshiping. Love is, if you will, my religion. Yeah, the Most High, I honor. There, then, in our opinion, is the sense of those representations. Incidentally, such phallic stones are not tied to a solar cult, except insofar as the sun is related to the rain. It is inaccurate to make it sun worship. See, I wanted to read that part again. All right. In the middle of page 194, thank you so much for being here for this reading. Hi, it's Harlow. On the contrary, a people who practiced such a cult had to be essentially agricultural. This automatically eliminates the Eurasian steppes and Nordic traditions, cradles of nomadic shepherds. Needless to say, there are no phallic stones in those areas. Those are found only in lands inhabited by Negroes or Negroids, or in places that they have frequented. The area that Spicer calls the Great Megalithic Civilization, which extends from Africa to India, Australia, South America, Spain, and Brittany. It is known that the Meners and dolmens of Brittany date back to a epoch of an agricultural and copper civilization. Moreover, Spain and Brittany were stopovers for the Phoenicians, a Negroid group en route to pick up tin from the British mines. That megalithic civilization in Brittany belongs to the second millennium, the period when the Phoenicians frequented those regions. This combination of facts should have no doubt on the southern and Negro origin of the megaliths in Brittany. Having proved the agricultural character of the societies to which we owe those megaliths, let us call attention to another contradiction in Dr. May's article. He assumes that the dead were cremated, but cremation is practiced by nomads who, by virtue of their vagabondage, cannot worship a fixed tomb. They retain this custom everywhere, even when they become sedentary. Romans, Arya of India. Corpses are buried so they may be carried along, not buried. The agricultural people to whom the Tundi Daro megaliths must be attributed could not have burned their dead. It must be possible to find their bones by following indications that we shall provide presently. But Dr. Mays goes into detail about the people responsible for those stones. Anyone familiar with Black psychology can state almost categorically that these works, which require a considerable amount of effort without any immediate apparent usefulness, without any relationship to the natural function of eating and capitulating, which alone interests the Black man, have not been executed by the Black race. We'll pause right here. Thank you so much for being here and reading with us. It's Heart Love. This peaceful part of YouTube where we read books and learn from masters. We're closing in on the end of this chapter. All right. This was the 40th read and the start of July. Divine days and nights. So when we reconvene, we will pick back up on page 195 in the middle. Thank you so much for being here. Fine days and nights. Happy July. We get to see some great football today. England and the Congo. DR Congo. It's going to be a great one. Thank you so much for reading with us. Also, the African origin of civilization, myth or reality by Dr. Cheikh Anta, translated and edited by Mercer Cook. We're shaking it up on YouTube, reading these books. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at that love. Awesome. Thank you so much. Much love. We're pushing towards 700 subs on this peaceful part of YouTube now. So it's happening. It's like, we're just climbing it up. Slow and steady wins the race. And that's learned from running track, pacing yourself. And so at this pace that we're going, it's really unbreakable. It's we could do this forever. Right? I wish you had a wonderful, wonderful day and evening, and I will see you soon when we reconvene on this next chapter, shaking it up on YouTube, reading great anthropology, right? And I'm wishing all the best for all of you out there, all the athletes that are participating in this World Cup. All right. We love you. We love you. We love you. Love you. Let's have a glass of love water in honor of those solar returns, as well as our friends and family. If elevated, I want to shine light on them. Give thanks for all they gave us while they were here. So grateful. Major Mark, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Man, I went into the aqua cloud the other night. Started aqua. And just like that, I was conscious into my dream. And I'm sitting right next to my daughter, Bubbles. And I'm like, hey, Isis, what's going on? And we just had this beautiful conversation and hug. And it was so real. I was like, wow, that aqua cloud is just really powerful. So I hope you enjoyed it as well. Tonight we are going to the violet cloud. So grateful and thankful for all of you. Thank you for the likes and subs on the new poem I posted as well. Thank you for being here in this peaceful part of YouTube, reading books and learning from masters. Getting so much love. Thank you so much. All right. Let's sing I love you to our friends at and family that have solar returns, as well as to our loved ones that have elevated. Sing I love you. All right. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Love, 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 love you, you. Ay, 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 ay. Love, love, love. You. You know it, because I love myself. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you soon when we reconvene. Peace, peace.